Welcome to the NFL Draft in Detroit. Let's go, Big D. How you like that? Em, I was just kidding about the rap battle. We're going to save that for another day. But the pride of Detroit has got a little some surprise for you and bringing out a few other surprises for you. So, Em, here you go. Detroit! What up? It's here. Make some noise for the Detroit Lions. Let's go!
Johnson, Pro Football Hall of Famer Calvin Johnson, and Pro Football Hall of Famer Barry Sanders.
Guess I'm lucky. Some of us don't get a second chance, but I ain't blowing this one. Nah, man. And I feel like I can do anything now.
Yo, what up, Detroit? Hey, this is crazy. I can't believe it. But before we get off the stage, I need to hear one thing. Jerry Goff. Jerry Goff. Jerry Goff.
What's up, Detroit? Let's go, baby! Hey, Detroit! Let's turn up tonight, baby! Let's get it!
What's up, Detroit? What's up, football fans? Thank you for showing the world how we do it here in Detroit. Great job, guys.
I just got one thing to say. What up, though?
With the first pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Chicago Bears select Caleb Williams, quarterback, Southern California.
There he is, a Detroit cheer for Caleb Williams, hugging his family, and he is the first overall pick in the NFL Draft. Kid who went from Oklahoma to USC when his coach Lincoln Riley went there. Followed him to USC, immediately won a Heisman Trophy this past year. Wasn't the way he wanted it to go in terms of wins and losses and things of that nature. But his talent is undeniable. And Bears fans, yes, he's about to put a Bears hat on and introduce himself to the world and head to Michigan Avenue.
He might not have ran a 40 in Indy, but he's running one here. I mean, he is flying up there. He is excited to get this journey started.
When you see all the things that come with Caleb Williams, people have talked about the nail polish and the flair that he, the way that he dresses, and he made so much money in NIL. I can tell you from experience, this guy has a competitive fire in his eyes. And ever since I talked with him as a true freshman when he was at Oklahoma, this is what he has been dreaming of, not only this moment, but being the #1 pick. This has been his goal. He wants to go to an organization, and as he told me, change the culture. He wants to be that engine for the Chicago Bears.
Do you remember the name Johnny Lujak at all? Johnny Lujak.
With the second pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Washington Commanders select Jaden Daniels, quarterback, LSU.
So it is the reigning Heisman Trophy winner. Second out of the green room after his predecessor winning that award. Jaden Daniels is the choice of the Washington Commanders, DJ.
This has just gone from an unwatchable offensive product to must-see TV. When you put this playmaker at the helm of this offense, going to be led now by Cliff Kingsbury. He did this the hard way, guys. This was not someone who just jumped on the scene in college football and took college football by storm. He earned his way. He got better. He changed schools. You talk to the folks at LSU, first one in, 5 o'clock in the morning. He's bringing wide receivers in there, using the virtual reality to be able to study coverages, study route combinations. All of that hard work culminates in a Heisman Trophy, and now he's the second pick of the draft.
What I love about Jaden Daniels is that path that you just spoke about. I covered him when he was at Arizona State, and there was so much optimism and hope for Herm Edwards, you remember, and that staff. And then all of a sudden, COVID kind of derailed that program. That the Pac-12 did not deal with COVID very well. They had a half season. Their team fell way short of expectations, and he bore the brunt of a lot of that criticism. So the change of scenery was perfect for him. And CD, I think it was that change of scenery. Obviously, he was able to mature as both a person and a player, but it's paid off in spades.
Not just his change of scenery.
With the third pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the New England Patriots select Drake May, quarterback, North Carolina.
So it is the 21-year-old from North Carolina that is going to New England. As we all know, in 2021, the last time we saw 3 quarterbacks taken in a row to start a draft like tonight, the Patriots chose Mac Jones 15th overall in that draft. An excellent rookie season for him. He did appear in the Pro Bowl that year. The next 2 years devolved. He is now in the Jacksonville Jaguar quarterback room backing up Trevor Lawrence, meaning this is Drake May's future in New England. The kid from North Carolina coming to the AFC East where Josh Allen resides, and that is a kid who he idolized. It's a quarterback he idolized growing up. Here he is, the New England Patriot quarterback, 3rd overall, Drake May.
Well, feels like for 2 decades, everyone was chasing Tom Brady in that division. Now everybody's chasing Josh Allen, and they got a big, rugged, physical, athletic quarterback in New England now that's going to give them a chance when they find themselves in some of those high-scoring affairs. This is an unbelievable athlete here in Drake May.
With the 4th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Arizona Cardinals select Marvin Harrison Jr., wide receiver, Ohio State.
Well, a Maserati is about to hit the showroom floor here in the Motor City. Marvin Harrison Jr., one of the more talented quarterbacks ever at Ohio State, hugging his head coach Ryan Day as he makes his way out here on a draft night to go to Arizona and become the prime target for Kyler Murray in the NFC West.
I'm all for trading down and getting depth, but I'm more into getting dudes. You have your depth, I'll take my dudes. This is a big-time playmaker. They need blue-chip difference makers on this roster for the Arizona Cardinals. There aren't many. And Kyler Murray is grinning from ear to ear. He has a #1 wide receiver, and not 2 years from now, 3 years from now. This is a #1 wide receiver this year. He's going to be ready to roll right when he gets on the field.
On the whiteboard, it's X's and O's, right, Joel?
That's right.
This is an X that comes to life and is an X factor. And Kyler Murray has to have this guy in order to get this offense going. The organization says Kyler Murray's our quarterback. Give him some people that give him a chance to make those plays. Marvin Harrison doesn't. By the way, he didn't run the 40. He didn't do the combine.
Didn't need to.
Why? He was training to be a football player.
That's exactly right, and that's what he is. Let me take you guys back a couple of years. You guys all know how many Ohio State games that Gus and I call, right? I mean,
all of them. I think you did all of them.
That might be actually accurate.
I think you missed the Youngstown State game. That's about it.
You know, we do our best, CD. There's no doubt. You even throw out the Maserati, Rich. You know, so
That's a shout out to Gus.
You've been listening. That's
5th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Los Angeles Chargers select Joe Alt, tackle, Notre Dame.
So they do take the left tackle from Notre Dame, even though Rashawn Slater is their all-pro. But for the moment, let's give Joe Alt his flowers.
Well, Joe Alt went from a tight end to a tackle, and within 2 years was the 5th pick in the draft. I think he'll be okay moving from left tackle to right tackle. He'll be able to pull that off. He is extremely long. You saw the dimensions. He's almost 6'9". This is Jonathan Ogden type height at left tackle. Length and range. You can't get into his chest. He does a great job of keeping his chest clean. You can't overpower him that way. In the run game for a big guy, he can roll his hips, get low, and create a lot of movement. You want to climb to the second level, which you're going to be doing a lot. with Jim Harbaugh and this offensive system with the Chargers, he does that as well. They are going to protect Justin Herbert, and they are going to give Justin Herbert a running game. Two areas and two issues that have been there for the Chargers since he entered the league.
That's a fam cam right there, presented by Rocket Mortgage, showing the moment that the Alt family is essentially back in the National Football League, right? So there he is, Joe Alt, going to Los Angeles to protect Justin Herbert and start road grading for Jim
With
Harbaugh.
the 6th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the New York Giants select Malik Neighbors, wide receiver, LSU.
So they do go wide receiver from LSU, just like back in the day, Odell. And it is Malik Neighbors coming to the Giants fold and bringing his remarkably dynamic style of play to the NFC East, and an offense that currently will be quarterbacked by Drew Lock until Daniel Jones is healthy, as it currently stands, as he walks to the stage right now.
I talked to Brian Daboll before last year's draft, and I said, what do you need to get accomplished? He said, we might be the slowest team in the league. We've got to get faster. We've got to get more dynamic. They made an effort with that last year with Jalen Hyatt, big-time speed they've added, and now they get the most electrifying wide receiver in this class. Not the most polished, but a big play waiting to happen. That can be throwing the ball 60 yards down the field. That can be literally handing him the ball and watching him run 60 yards down the field.
Well, you just mentioned what they had to do, and they've got all that in terms of the speed and everything else, the dynamicism. But here's the thing for me, Joel. It's the competitiveness. If you've been around Brian Daboll and been around his ball club, they always have competitive periods, ones versus ones. End the day with a competitive thing, who won, who lost. He wants all of that. That's Malik Neighbors.
Yep.
That fits Brian Daboll. Remember,
With the 7th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Tennessee Titans select J.C. Latham, tackle, Alabama.
Well, we had tackles go at 5 and 7. Not a surprise either spot. The Tennessee Titans, this was a glaring need for them. Will Levis needs some help, needs some protection. They were tied for 28th in sacks allowed last year. Latham is a mammoth human being. Played at right tackle there. He's also played inside at guard. I believe he'll be a left tackle in the NFL, Charles. The upside with him in terms of what he can become, big-time recruit, big-time talent, I think there's still more there for him.
He's like those things at the airport. He's an APM, automated people mover, right? But here's the other part. Bill Callahan was the coach in Cleveland when they drafted Jedrick Wills out of Alabama, right tackle his college career. They converted him to left tackle. Bill Callahan is now the offensive line coach for the Tennessee Titans. If you're talking about converting a guy from right tackle to left tackle, and they were going to do it last year, but Michael Proctor was there, and they decided to just leave J.C. Latham. Guess what? He's going to make the move now under one of the best offensive line coaches in NFL history.
Well, and they needed help up front. There's no doubt about that. This guy,
next to Skoronski.
And he is athletic and has been for a long time. Could dunk a basketball in the middle. Oh, here we go. He's got the back surgery. Hold on.
Oh,
no one told
goodness.
us. Is it?
Oh, wow.
Raj is wincing up there.
Oh, my goodness.
Okay. Let's all take a breath. I think he's okay.
Looks like he's all right. I don't know. He's fighting through it.
NFL Draft, the Atlanta Falcons select Michael Penix Jr.
Well, there it is.
Quarterback, Washington.
That is the first surprise of the NFL Draft, to say the least. The 4th quarterback off the board is Michael Penix Jr. He is a top 10 selection, and he is going to the place that just made a very expensive investment in a veteran quarterback. And it's kind of wild that Kirk Cousins arrives in Atlanta. He signs in Atlanta. He leaves Minnesota to go to Atlanta. Minnesota is sticking around, and
For
with
NFL
this,
Draft, the Chicago Bears select Rome Odunze, wide receiver, Washington.
so the guys who came on the same flight from Los Angeles commercially are gonna hop on Air McCaskey to go to Chicago together. And Caleb Williams, drafted 1st overall into an offense that already had Keenan Allen and DJ Moore, will have Rome Odunze at his disposal this fall. What a windfall for the Chicago Bears. Caleb Williams 1, Rome Odunze 9.
Caleb Williams has already been throwing with Rome Odunze and Keenan Allen. Maybe he saw the future of where this thing was going. But you talk about transforming an offense in one offseason. I don't know if there's a bigger transformation than the one that's taking place in Chicago right now.
Remember the discussion going in. Offensive tackle. Remember Olu Fashanu played there with Caleb Williams in high school.
Kind of like what the Chicago Bears are doing with their first couple picks.
Tell you what's really underrated here, Keenan Allen, known as one of the great route runners coming into the league, and then as he's been in the league, Rome Odunze, one of the areas of improvement.
With the 10th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Minnesota Vikings select
J.J. McCarthy,
quarterback, Michigan.
And a huge ovation from the Wolverine heavy crowd here in Detroit, just down the road. And as you can see, in Van Buren Township, Michigan, he is going to Minnesota. And he is the quarterback of the Minnesota Vikings, joining a room with Sam Darnold. Jets pick. This may be the greatest moment of my entire draft broadcasting career. This is awesome.
With the 11th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the New York Jets select Olu Fashanu, tackle, Penn State.
So they go in the direction of protecting Aaron Rodgers rather than handing him another weapon to throw to.
Yeah, they went out and got Tyron Smith and Morgan Moses. Those guys are both 33 years old.
Pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Denver Broncos select Bo Nix.
There it is.
Quarterback, Oregon.
6 for 12. 6 quarterbacks in the first dozen picks.
To quote Rambo, they're all gone, sir.
They're
all 6 of the quarterbacks are gone. Bo Nix. The comparison was Tua because he's got real quick hands, he's very accurate underneath, and he can lay the ball up. Some of the drive throws, that's what people want to see. There is evidence out there of him driving the football. This offense just didn't require it very often. A lot of quick hitters, a lot of balls underneath, but the ability there, he's played a lot of football, started 61 games in college. That's where you see the polish and things like this with ball handling. He's played so much football. The mobility at Auburn, you saw more of. A little sprinkled in here. Didn't have to run it quite as much with this Oregon offense. I thought they would trade down, but I think the fact that the 5 other guys were gone, they weren't going to get cute. That's the moral of the story. Don't get cute this year. Get your guy.
That's the Fam Cam presented by Rocket Mortgage in Alabama, Jackson's Gap, Alabama, seeing Bo Nix celebrating with his friends and family.
With the 13th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Las Vegas Raiders select Brock Bowers, tight end, Georgia.
All right. So Brock Bowers is going to the Raiders. And what do you think of this pick?
Well, this is value here. This is my 7th overall player, big-time player. It came down to position value. I think that's why you see him available right here. But when you've watched college football over the last few years and you've watched Georgia, he's the best player on the field in every single one of their games. What he does with the ball in his hands, the run after catch. One of their coaches said if we put this guy at tailback, he'd be our best tailback on our roster. There's some of the route ability, be able to shake defenders and get free, catching in traffic, making big plays down the field. He does that as well. I believe if he had a clean process, if he had been healthy through the entire spring, run a 40, do all those things, he wouldn't have been here for the Raiders. This is a big-time weapon that's going to pair up with a pretty darn good receiver they have there in Vegas.
When you look at the last 8 Super Bowl winners, what you'll see is that, primarily speaking, their best offensive pass-catching threat owns the middle of the field, operates in the middle.
14th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the New Orleans Saints select Talaise Fuaga, tackle, Oregon State.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, for me, he was right behind Joe Alt. I just loved watching him and the temperament and the physicality with which he plays. As you see.
With the 15th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Indianapolis Colts select Laiatu Latu, defensive end, UCLA.
So it is Latu coming out of the green room. He is an Indianapolis Colt.
There is defense in the NFL.
And he is the first defensive player selected in the 2024 NFL Draft.
And DJ, think about his path. He was just now the first defensive player taken in this draft, and it was just a few years ago when he was at the University of Washington. He had to medically retire from the sport. It was a second chance to get to UCLA. Imagine the emotion that he's going through right now.
Remember what doctor cleared him? Peyton Manning's doctor, who cleared Peyton to come back and play in the NFL. And he wears 15, DJ. Jalen Phillips wore 15 coming out and followed a similar path where he was medically not cleared and had to change schools, get cleared, and make it to the NFL.
We'll get to the football in just a second. I am so happy for this guy. He was on his way to being a firefighter. He was thinking football was in his past, not in his future. He got a second opportunity, and talk about making the most of it there at UCLA. 2 phenomenal years. Here he's the 15th pick in the NFL draft. That is impressive that he stuck with it, that he put in the work, and I'm so pumped to see him rewarded, and that smile on his face is well deserved.
I mean, the production in 2 years after he got down to UCLA was off the charts, guys. You could not keep him out of the backfield. He had 23.5 sacks, 34 tackles for loss. The guy was as productive as any edge rusher in college football.
And the most tools in the bag, right, DJ, in terms of the 3 top
He's got the most pitches
we talked about, right? He's the guy who can throw the changeup, throw the off speed, bring the fastball, and occasionally you see that bull rush when he had people off balance. So you saw a lot there. I do think there's a lot of that Jalen Phillips in him.
Yeah.
The numbers, the body type, the path of getting here, and now he's in Indianapolis, and your guys were right. He's going to chase
You were
CJ
talking
Stroud
about
Houston.
You were talking about the emotion.
16th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Seattle Seahawks select Byron Murphy, defensive tackle, Texas.
There's now officially a run on defensive players.
It's arrived.
So Byron Murphy is now going to the middle of the defensive line in Seattle, and as this pick gets announced, Minnesota just traded up into the Jacksonville Jaguars spot 17th overall, giving up a 3 and a 4 next.
Jacksonville Jaguars have traded the 17th pick to the Minnesota Vikings. With the 17th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Minnesota Vikings select Dallas Turner, linebacker, Alabama.
So Dallas Turner, who sacked J.J. McCarthy in the Rose Bowl, is coming out of the green room right now to be a teammate of J.J.'s.
2024 NFL Draft, the Cincinnati Bengals select Amarius Mims, tackle, Georgia.
That is one large bulldog making his way to Cincinnati.
And so you see the size up there, 6'7", 340 pounds. He is massive, and he is not fat. I mean, it is well put together. Limited starts, only 8 starts. When you go back and watch him in 2022 in this game against Ohio State, you see everything you need to see. There's not as much volume as some of these other offensive linemen, but he's got excellent feet, excellent balance. You see him using his hands here, showing you the awareness to be able to pick up that twist. This game showed you what you needed to see. Now, you have to be a little bit risky here because there's not a large body of work. But when you talk to the folks down there at Georgia, they say all the talent they've had on that offensive line, this is the most gifted pass protector they've had. He would go weeks and weeks without losing a one-on-one, and those are all defensive linemen, NFL players he's going up against in practice.
Well, he's a large body at work, you could basically say, you know, and time for the fam camp presented by Rocket Mortgage. There's the moment where Marius Mims found out he's going to be a Cincinnati Bengal. And interestingly enough, we talk about how, you know, large he is. He's the 3rd largest offensive lineman
in the 2024 NFL Draft. The Los Angeles Rams select Jared Verse, defensive end, Florida State.
Yeah, they got some juice. I mean, you're not going to be able to replace Aaron Donald, but it can be a collective group effort. And this is a rugged, physical pass rusher. I've made this comment about Jared Verse throughout the process.
In the 2024 NFL Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Troy Fautanu, tackle, Washington.
There you go.
Now they got themselves a tackle for the 2nd year in a row. Broderick Jones last year out of Georgia. Here they go to Washington. As you see, a very emotional Troy Fautanu. That is a cool moment to see him take this in. As He's going to love playing for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and his play style very much fits with the way the Pittsburgh Steelers love to play football. Watch it take.
With the 21st pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Miami Dolphins select Chop Robinson, linebacker, Penn State.
We're going to Miami.
They kept it simple.
This is a need, as Charles referenced, and this is a fastball off the edge in Chop Robinson. We saw it at the combine.
With the 22nd pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Philadelphia Eagles select Quinyon Mitchell, defensive back, Toledo. Go Birds, baby!
All right. Thank you, mate. Jordan Mailata, I think that pick came from the future. Isn't it like tomorrow in Australia? Or is it yesterday? I can't remember how that works. But Quinyon Mitchell comes out of the green room there in Detroit as the first cornerback off the board, which we expected. Looks like he's about done with all this pomp and circumstance.
Hey, he got into a good spot, though.
Yeah, buddy.
It stings now, but it ain't
gonna
gonna
count
sting
on
you
it
when those playoff shares start rolling in.
That's right. That's right. And this is a team that needs corner help in a bad way. After they tried to run it back with James Bradbury, there it is, and Darius Slay, and now going to get that opportunity to kind of be that next guy to help lock down some really talented receivers in the NFC East. We'll give you a smile. Come on, Quinyon.
Quinyon about his business, maybe.
Hey, but Bucky, how about, I mean, no question, this has been one of the biggest risers in the draft community in terms of buzz, in terms of, man, this guy has burst onto the scene. Good tape at Toledo Senior Bowl really helped him, and then he blew it up at the Combine.
So this is really interesting with Quinyon Mitchell is.
With the 23rd pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Brian Thomas Jr., wide receiver, LSU.
Okay, so that makes 3 LSU Tigers, and so Jaden Daniels' 2 prime targets are now out of the green room, and I guess he's entering the teal room now in Duval County. Brian Thomas Jr. out of LSU is going to go catch passes from Trevor Lawrence.
Out goes Calvin Ridley, and they replace him via the draft here with a very explosive, high-flying receiver in Brian Thomas Jr. That LSU offense, we've talked about Jaden Daniels, we've talked about Neighbors. This dude's no slouch now. He put up huge numbers, and most of it deep down the field, a true vertical weapon. See him walking towards the stage here, Joel.
He was 17 touchdowns.
Yeah,
all right.
big time
So
production.
it wasn't all just because Malik Neighbors on the other side. This kid created as well.
And loves football. He was an all-state basketball player in high school and actually gave basketball up. Why? For his first love, which is football. And that obviously catapulted him in the recruiting ranks. And yes, did he benefit a little bit from having Malik Neighbors on the other? Sure, yes. But he has so much speed. And that offense, it was just beautiful to watch. This is a big reason why Jaden Daniels had 100 explosive plays between his own runs and then throwing the ball to these two guys.
In the 2024 NFL Draft, the Detroit Lions select Terrion Arnold, defensive back, Alabama.
And he's going to be here in person. And one of the most electric players on the field with a personality to match is going to come out on this stage and meet and greet the 275,000 strong, many of them wearing Detroit Lions gear. It worked out last year drafting Brian Branch from Alabama, certainly to add him to the secondary in Detroit. Now here comes Terrion Arnold out of Alabama, putting on a Lions hat, and it will be quite the moment when he hits the stage.
There's guys that like football, there's guys that love football, and then there's Terrion Arnold. I mean, he has got so much energy, so much juice, so much passion. I bet he's going to soak this in with these Lions fans out here tonight, Joel.
I love the energy that he brings to the field. Every time he's on the field, he's flying around, he's physical, he's infectious in terms of the energy that he plays and the defenders that he plays with. And here we are.
Here he is.
Oh, yeah.
Thursday Night Live with Terrion Arnold. Live from Detroit. What a neat moment for him. A longer wait than he probably thought, but it's paying off with him not having to take a flight anywhere.
Tell you what, nobody's drafted better than the Detroit Lions over the last couple years, and in my opinion, they just hit another one out of the park.
And they came in with a vision with Brad Holmes, the GM, head coach Dan Campbell, Chris Spielman behind the scenes, and they've drafted to that vision and played to that vision. And Terrion Arnold fits exactly what we're talking about. Remember last year when they moved up for Gibbs at 12, they were criticized. Jack Campbell, the linebacker, late in the first round, criticized, but they knew that's what they wanted in a ball player, and that turned out well for them. They have the same feeling about Terrion Arnold here.
And you touched on it, DJ. Like, all the guys that they've drafted love football. They have an infectious locker room now of guys that just love the sport and want to compete at a high level.
Brian Branch loved it so much that he was here as part of that group that thought he'd go in the first.
In the 2024 NFL Draft, the Green Bay Packers and hosts for the 2025 NFL Draft select Jordan Morgan, tackle, Arizona.
Jordan Morgan could really play guard or tackle. Had an injury earlier in his career, was coming back from that this past season. A very athletic, smooth mover. You can watch him redirect when you're watching the video. You can see that athleticism. It really shows up. Here he is at left tackle. In the run game, there's a little bit of that upper torque, that upper power. That's not what he majors in. It's more about this right here. It's the quick-footedness, it's the athleticism, the ability to redirect, rework those hands, and create position.
Pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers select Graham Barton, center, Duke.
So that's, I think, what Ian was referring to right there.
Yeah, maybe there is a collective groan inside the Dallas draft room there. Graham Barton, position flexibility. Mitch Morse, somebody who played tackle, also kicked inside and has had a great run at center. Here he is at tackle this last year. Really strong hands. Once he lands his hands, the rep is over. If he can get his hands inside, it's outstanding. In the run game, really good as a puller, getting up to the second level, getting out in space at the perimeter. Outstanding athlete. You're going to love using him.
In the 2024 NFL Draft, the Arizona Cardinals select Darius Robinson, defensive tackle, Missouri.
I was told that they were hunting for interior pass rush in this draft. Darius Robinson's fascinating, Joel, because when you watched him this year, he was out on the edge and he flourished. Previously, he'd been inside. So teams were split on how you use him. Some feel like you play him outside on the edge on those base downs, those early downs, then let him rush inside. But they really want to get some interior pass rush, and I believe that's why Darius Robinson was their guy.
What a great finish to his career. Think about the year that Eli Drinkowitz had with Missouri and culminating in that win over Ohio State in the bowl game. He finishes his career as one of the best players in the SEC. Battled ankle injuries at times during his career. But when you look at this guy, he was voted one of the best players in the Senior Bowl that week down in Mobile. You guys got an up-close and personal seat to what he did down there. I think he helped his draft stock immensely that week.
He certainly did that week in Mobile because of the versatility. DJ had touched on it. Which way do you want to play him? I did not see him as that twitchy, exclusive edge rusher. What we saw in Mobile was him taking on offensive tackles, taking on offensive guards. He rose to the challenge, and every day he got better, and you saw his confidence grow. I think he's a versatile piece moving up and down. I thought Johnny Newton might be a possibility there for Arizona as well.
Yeah. And that's the last player out of the green room as well, so there's nobody that's going to be sticking around or thinking about what tomorrow might bring. Darius Robinson means we're
Bills have traded the 28th pick to the Kansas City Chiefs. With the 28th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the back-to-back Super Bowl champions, Kansas City Chiefs, select Xavier Worthy.
There it is. And it's only fitting that the 20th offensive player of this first round, breaking a record for most offensive players taken in a first round, and that record is set by the guy who broke the record for the fastest 40 at a combine, and he's joining the Chiefs. look out.
Now, this might not be the last record he breaks when you put him with Patrick Mahomes. Instant speed, that 4.21, all-time great in terms of that number. And watch how fast he is on a field of fast players at Alabama. This is the game that jumped out to me. The ability to get down the field, track the ball over your shoulder, almost like Willie Mays, but then also be able to run routes. This is where the Deshaun Jackson comparison and the Tank Dell comparison, undersized, explosive players, but they're also excellent route runners. And Worthy has the toughness. That shows up with the ball in his hands. It also shows up as a returner. Don't forget also, you've got the connection. Andy Reid, BYU, Steve Sarkisian, they are very...
With the 29th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Dallas Cowboys select Tyler Guyton, tackle, Oklahoma.
So there you go. That was I kind of thought that maybe they weren't as interested in the interior players in the first round as some had kind of suggested early on, and they get a guy in Tyler Guyton here who provides them some future here, Lance, at tackle.
So you have to find out what Detroit's doing, right?
Yeah.
The trade up, they tell you what they're going to do. Then you start running the math on everything. They may have gotten a little nervous there when the Chiefs traded up, but really good job, smart job by the Dallas Cowboys of moving back and still getting the tackle that many of us had targeted to the Dallas Cowboys. So Tyler Guyton is a high ceiling player, but he's got to play more football. There's no way to speed up the process for him. He hasn't played enough football yet to be able to really understand all the tricks that are going to be thrown his way by the NFL rushers. Some of the push-pull stuff that he's going to have to take on Bucky, that's going to be new to him. But he's long. He's got the athleticism to play on the right side or the left side. And I think as he learns the position, and it's going to be his ascension to becoming a really good tackle, could be very, very fast.
Yeah, it could be very fast. Former tight end making a transition. You think about what the Cowboys have been able to do with offensive linemen in the past. Some of the guys, like even the guy they took from Tulsa, wasn't a polished guy, but then he gets to Dallas and he plays really well. So maybe Guyton can be on a similar track, gives him the versatility to play right tackle, left tackle. They may not have to move Smith outside.
And look, the Cowboys get back to their roots, right? This run that had brought them to the top of the division a number of times was really keyed when they went heavy on offensive line.
In the 2024 NFL Draft, the Baltimore Ravens select Nate Wiggins, defensive back, Clemson.
Yeah, you guys talked about it in terms of just the pure cover corner. That's what he is. Reminded me of DRC, Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie. The 173 pounds was a little startling. He got to his pro day, he was back up over 180, so that was encouraging. A very dynamic athlete. The testing numbers were excellent. He's very loose and fluid and smooth in all of his movements as he keeps his eyes on the quarterback. Watch the speed to close here. He can close down that space, that catch-up, that make-up speed. He's got it big time. The effort to chase plays down. He did it twice. You'll see them both right here. Forced the fumble at the 1-yard line. Here he is against North Carolina. Another one, phenomenal effort to chase that play down. Now, the issues are some of the tackling. Tackling wasn't great. He was a little content to hang on blocks at times. But you go to the Baltimore Ravens, they will coach you out of that very quickly. And if they don't do it, the first time you have to...
2024 NFL Draft, the San Francisco 49ers select Ricky Pearsall, wide receiver, Florida.
So they do take a receiver, and it's Ricky Pearsall.
Yeah, Ricky Pearsall is coming off a great year, and somebody who also went to the Senior Bowl and showed up down there. Charles and I saw him down there. Michael Gallup was my comparison. Route polish. And one of the things when you watch him, he's so crisp when he gets to the top of his route. They appreciate that. This is the best catch anybody had all year long. You won't see a better catch than that one, to be able to haul that one in. Tracking the ball, again, outstanding hands. They value that everywhere, but especially with Kyle Shanahan. Can you run through the catch point? Can you run clean routes? And are you reliable with your hands? He's a really good player, CD.
And he'll be one of those guys that shows up early, stays late, absolutely loves ball. Joel, you remember him at Arizona State?
To the Carolina Panthers. With the 32nd pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Carolina Panthers select Xavier Leggett, wide receiver, South Carolina.
They are of their word, sir.
Honest Dave.
That closes the first round. Thank you, Detroit, for a record-setting night. Don't forget, over the next 2 days, you can break the all-time NFL draft record. Thank you. See you at 7 o'clock tomorrow night.
And speaking of record setting or record tying, that's a record tying 7th wide receiver taken in this first round that saw a record-breaking 14 offensive players go off the board consecutively to start it, and a record-breaking 6 quarterbacks in the first 12 picks. And this kid out of South Carolina said he was told this would happen.
Yeah, and he said they were taking him with the 33rd pick. Technically, they did lie. They took him with the 32nd pick. They traded up one spot.
He wasn't supposed to tell everybody.
No, that'll probably be the last time that happens.
That's the last time that conversation
But this is a big physical. You think about Deebo Samuel with that size and physicality. Some comparisons out there. Oh, could he be an A.J. Brown? Just look at the body type, 220 pounds. He's a big vertical weapon who goes up and wins a lot of these 50-50 balls down the field. Also has return background. There's not as much route polish there. He's going to need some work in that area. Be patient with him in that regard. But speed, physicality, size, slants, goes, over routes, that's going to be what he majors in.
And you mentioned the comparison.